someone else coming in. We'll give them a second to connect. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So as Yulisa said, my name is Nanette. I am one of the CRC librarians. Particularly, I do reference appointments, which I'll get into a bit about those later. I also work at Sac City College, so if you're ever at Sac City, I'll be there some days as well. So first of all, we're doing a little library declassified survival guide talking about the library services, what you can expect when you visit, or how to use its services. So a little bit about what we're going to talk about is the library in general, your perceptions of it, some services that are available to you on campus, some that are available virtual, and then how to get started with any research projects you might have. So if you have any papers or presentations and stuff, how to approach getting ready for those. So to begin with, I kind of wanted to start with this idea of what is a library. So go ahead, if for those of you in person, if you have your phones, you can go on to this link. I'm also going to drop it in the chat. But we have what's called a Jamboard. Isn't that fun?
I could even click on it and then get some other feedback or have them type it. Or would you want to use your phone? Okay. Yeah, it's like
whatever's preferred. Yeah, it's just tinyurl.com library-jam. And so go ahead and when you're there, you can use some sticky notes and you can start telling us a little bit about like what your experience is with libraries in general, or if you visited the CRC library, if you have any questions about using the library, if there's anything intimidating, go ahead and just put it on there. And so we can all get a feel for where we're at. So if you don't know, this is a sticky note function. You can pick some fun colors. I believe you're muted, Julissa.
Hi, yeah, just putting the students in on how to use the Jamboard. I'm going to have them use my computer.
For sure. For those of you who are with us on Zoom, are you having any trouble? Do you need any help with the Jamboard link? Also, sorry if it looks like I'm like looking off to the side, like little videos of icons of your faces is all over on the right. So I'm like, hey.
For some reason, Annette, I don't see the tools on the side. On the link.
Let me see.
Oh, there you go.
That's my would have been okay. There we go.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, I'll pass down the laptop to the students that we have in the center.
Awesome. Like I said, let us know all your experiences with the library, if you have questions or anything that's concerning, if you've even stepped foot in the library before. Cool. Anyone else?
Hi, Selena, I see your comment. Feel free to refresh it. And then not sure if you already refreshed it, and then you'll be able to edit it after. Just saw your comment.
All right, for those of you in Zoom, if you're ready, go ahead and give me a thumbs up so I know that we can go over all of this. Anna Solomon, are you still typing? Oh, okay, awesome. Thumbs up, okay. Cool, so, all right, so how do I access the study rooms? We will definitely be going over that. Offers printers, silent rooms, free computers, librarians can help you with research questions. Yeah, we'll be going over all of that stuff as well. Let's see, desktop computers, and learn more about what to do in the library. Okay, so you'll go back into present mode. So all of those are great things. So a little bit about on-service or library services on campus. So as mentioned, there are study rooms. So those are on campus. Some like booking those, I believe that some of the systems have changed, but booking group study rooms can be done online on the website. These are the current hours for the library, but if they ever change, they will be updated as well on the website. Jamboards are, so we just did the little Jamboard activity. So in addition to Google having this online little whiteboard that we can use, we also have in the study room some actual physical Jamboards. So they're a bit like whiteboards, but you can connect online. So if you're doing any projects or you have any classes that have both like Zoom sessions and like in person, and you have like group projects where you're meeting with people and some of your classmates may not be able to meet in person, the Jamboards are a great tool for you to use if some of your group is on campus and some of you are at home. And then we do have items like Chromebooks that are available for rent for full semester length time. Information on that is also on the website. And there are library lockers. So if you're doing more virtual classes than you are on person, or your hours aren't necessarily too compatible with the library's available hours, you can check out books and have them sent to the locker so you can just swoop on campus and pick them up and go when you have time. So that's a little bit about what's on campus. And when we get to the part where I pull up the website, I'll point out where you can find those things. Oh, another thing. So circulation desk and in-person reference desk. Has everyone been physically inside the actual library? Go ahead and give me like a thumbs up emoji or something if you have. Okay. No, you haven't. Okay. So since at least one person in the group hasn't been in the actual library, when you enter the library, you'll notice that there's like a couple of like desks that like look like they have people that can help you out, right? So the desk that you'll find in the on the right side as you enter the door is going to be the circulation desk. So if you have questions about checking out books or anything like any services that are going on, that's the desk that you want to speak to. That's where you want to bring your books to check them out. Or if you're looking for any like reference textbooks that are available in the library, that's where you go. If you're looking for help on like a research project or a paper and stuff, there's a separate desk that is the reference desk, and that may be something that you may not know about. If you go directly in all the way, there's a desk where there usually is a librarian on staff available to help you with any research question you might have. And so you could, if they're available and there's no other student, you could just pop over, ask any questions, but you can also make an appointment with this specific librarian and they'd be able to help you with those research questions. And we'll go a little bit on the virtual end of that on the next slide. And so if you're doing your classes virtually, or if you're just at home, not on campus that day, and you need any assistance with any library services, or if you just need to reach out for like a direction on like where to find something, there is a chat feature on the website. You'll notice on the right hand side there's a little orange like speech bubble that says like ask a librarian, and so that is a 24/7 chat, so it's always open. If you linger on the library page for a while, you're going to get a little pop-up message saying, hey, do you need some help? That would be a place for you to go. So you can click on that, you can ask your question, and then whoever is the library on staff will be able to see your question and answer it. And so you'll get an email back from that librarian. And so that's a good way to ask for help if the library is closed. Yeah, or if the library is closed, or if it's like after hours, or if it's a question that you don't think it needs like an instant answer, you can do that. There's of course a phone number that you can call that's also listed on the website. But you know, some people don't like phone calls, so there's a chat function. So tech help, if you are on campus or if you're at home, you can still get access to tech help. So if you're struggling with your Google Drive or like any of the Google apps that are available to you as a student, or if you have a Chromebook and you're having trouble with the Chromebook, you can reach out for help on using those services through the tech help desk, either in person, which would be, I believe it's the desk on the left in the library. It's its own separate desk as well, or on the website. There is a link on the left. I'll show it to you when we get to the website that says tech help, and it has, I believe, a drop-in Zoom for you, email address, phone number, the works for you to contact. And then other virtual services that are there are the databases and citation guides for if you're doing research. And some of these databases are just general like peer-reviewed article databases. So when your professors are like, I want you to bring 5 sources for this paper, those would be the places that you'll go. And we'll go into that a little more later. Citation guides. So if you're citing any papers or any projects and such, we do have guides that you can reference, so you're able to make sure that your citations are accurate. If you're checking out books actively and you want to see when the book is due, or if you have any fines and stuff, you can access your library account online as well. So you don't necessarily have to come into campus to see that. And then virtual reference appointments. So much like the reference desk that's in person in the library, you can book for reference appointments virtually over Zoom or through phone calls, and you can book them through the website as well. So that's a little about our services. Any questions at this time? No? No, okay. So before we get into the research guide, let's go ahead and go look at the website a little bit. Oh, you see, there's that pop-up. If you linger long enough, it'll ask if you need help. But so like I mentioned, there's the Ask a Librarian chat here. If you click it, you'll get a little pop-up, and it's literally a little chat box. You just enter in your name, your contact info, email or phone number, what your question is. The hours are all here. These are going to be accurate up until December 15th, and then they may change. And then let's see, student tech help is where you can get help with the Chromebooks, as I mentioned, or your Google Docs, or even if you need help resetting your password, they're able to do that. They do, like I mentioned, have Zoom appointments or phone appointments, or you can just click this and it'll give you the little rundown on phone numbers and such. Always make sure to explore the library website. There's a lot here. Your library account, as I mentioned. you sign in with your Los Rios sign in as you do for everything, and then you'll be able to see what you have checked out, when it's due. So this is the general website, as I mentioned. Now, so let's go into a little bit about research. So as I mentioned, there is that reference desk in person, but you can also check out, or not check out, but you can make an appointment for online. So we have this button here, research appointments, where you can make those Zoom appointments, and you'll see the days that are available, different variety of times. So there's going to be different librarians with different schedule availabilities that may work with your schedule or may not. As mentioned, the library is open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. during most of the week, and then 4 p.m. on Fridays. So most of the appointments available are going to be within that time frame. If you have a particular librarian that you're familiar with, you can search just by their name, or you just click no preference and you'll be able to see the available times. If you do want to book an appointment with me in the future, you just click my name. I'm only here on Tuesdays, but I am available from 4 to 8. So I am available in the evenings, which might be more useful if you have earlier classes and stuff. So that's how you make research appointments. And so research appointments, you get 40 minutes of one-on-one time with the librarian, and that's true for both in person or online. And so the librarian is able to help you come up with a way to search for whatever research project you have going on, if it's a paper or if it's a presentation, or if you're making like a poster board for a presentation, all of that. And so let's start going into the research process. So I'm not going to do a full presentation screen because we're going to be jumping around tabs a little bit here. So the way that I like to break down research is these kind of general 6 steps. So step 1, your class and your professor, is there a class specific research guide? So something that you may not be aware about, in addition to databases kind of being specific to different journals and such, we also have guides that kind of go over if you're researching a particular topic or if you're in a particular class. Some professors will, as you probably know, will reuse the same projects for different semesters. And so those professors will have a research guide that's developed in mind for their specific class. So personally, I like to search this by type. And then course guide is what you would be looking for. You may be taking English Writing 300. We have a lot of different professors that have different guides for their classes, but let's just pick Gold Bar. And so you'll see on this guide that this is a little more specific to their class, and it talks about a specific assignment. So this professor has an argument essay assignment, and so this is the requirements for their essay. And so if you're in a class that has a research project, one of the first things you want to do is check the guides to see if that particular professor may have a guide specific to them, because it may provide you additional like tips or additional like requirements, or it may like clarify on some things. Like this professor is asking for let's see, 6 to 10 different sources for this assignment, and they want a variety of sources, and so they number what kind and how many. So stuff like that is good to see when you're on a guide like this. And then if there's no class guide, you want to look at the subject specific research guides. So let's go back to the LibGuides, and those would be like the general purpose guides here, or the subject guides here. So these are the 3 that we have: arts, media, and entertainment, business and computer science research, English and language arts studies or language studies. So if you're in a class that falls in any of those and you have a research project, you can click into them, and you'll have a couple of sources that are more specific to those fields of study. That way it kind of takes some of the guesswork out. There's some like books that are kind of recommended, or there's a link to search for more books. Let's see. So a lot of these are going to come up like automatically filled or pre-filled searches through OneSearch, which is, the search that we use for when we're looking at for books or articles. But on the guides, you'll also get like organization. So since we're looking at computer science in this guide, you'll see stuff about like technology, coding, stuff like that, and other web resources that are available that you might want to make use of. So that would be my recommended second step for when you're doing a research project. Then step 3 and 4 would be breaking down your research prompt into keywords. Can anyone tell me what a keyword is or what a keyword search might be like?
Don't write the whole sentence.
We have a student here who would like to share.
All right. Don't write the whole sentence, basically. Just write only specific things that correlate to the prompt or something like that.
Right, yeah, so yeah, you don't want to use the full sentence because that may either lead you into strange places, or it may say there are no results to be found here. So yeah, you want to take specific parts of your research question. So one way I like to compare it that may make sense for those of you if you're not familiar with keywords or keyword searching is say you are on TikTok or say you're on Instagram and you just saw something like a video or picture and you wanted to like it, but you refreshed your page before you could. What are the tags that you would associate with that picture or video to search for it again? And that's how I kind of explained keyword searching, because it's kind of the same things. You want to take the words that you associate with this one item and use that to search for it. So with keyword searching, it doesn't have to be, it shouldn't be a full sentence. It could be 2 words just put together, and those are your keywords or those are your tags. So let's do a little example. So I came up with this fake assignment, super generic. Write an 8 to 12 page essay exploring a topic of your choice that incorporates a variety of scholarly sources. Identify how this topic has had an impact and why it's important. So if this is the assignment, what are we going to research on? Somebody give me a topic. Any?
They're all so quiet, but I also know that there's
Wow.
like multiple people in the center, so that's why it might take a little bit of a delay.
Yeah.
What are you writing on your English class that I know you're taking right now? Like,
Yeah.
let's put it into real practice.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Alfredo, Juan, I know you're taking a class. I could hear them laughing. You could
Bobby?
hear them.
I'm writing about my hobby right now.
Your hobby? What's your hobby?
Reading.
Reading. Okay. So reading.
Mom.
How
Nice.
read that?
Oh, Juan's also gonna share.
Well, I'm writing about athletes or like doing some sort of exercise and like how
Yeah.
that has an effect in like your physical and mental health.
Okay. Okay. So athletes and mental health. Okay. So if this is our essay assignment, we got to pick a topic that talks about the impact of something and why it's important. And our topic is athletes and mental health. We can turn our research question to something along the lines of what is the impact of regular exercise? If I spell anything, no, I didn't. Exercise on athletes' mental health. So that's a question now. Autocorrect everything. So this is a question. This can also be how we get our thesis, right? So the research question and your thesis in a paper, or if it's a presentation, because you should still have a thesis if you're doing a presentation versus a paper, is the thing that you're trying to explain or trying to prove, right? So for this instance, we're looking at exercise, athletes, and mental health. So just from that, we have a couple of keywords, right? We have exercise. I can't spell, y'all. We have exercise. We have mental health. And we have athletes. So those are the easy ones, right? The thing about keyword searching is that you have, the words that you usually pick and choose out of your research questions that are like really easy to find. But another thing you can do is you can use synonyms. So you can use anything like thesaurus.com. Just plug in your word and see what kind of other options comes up. Because sometimes when you're searching with the words that feel obvious to you, it may not actually give you what you want. So we'll take those words and we take them into one search. So you can do one search on the main page here. Let's just throw in athletes. And so this will give us the full one search view. Has anyone used one search already, or have they had trouble with one search before? Yes, no? All right, I'll go ahead then. So OneSearch, as I mentioned before, is the main searching tool that we have for the library. So any articles, any books you want to look up, this is going to be the place to find it. So before we get into editing the search, let me tell you a little bit about the view here. So, search bar up top, we can do advanced search settings. So if you're wanting to get a little more specific and stuff, you have more options and stuff up here, right? I'll go into a little about how those work in a second. When you're looking at a listing of a specific book or an article, you click on them, you kind of get the side panel that pops out. And so this side panel is going to give you all of the information about the particular item. Usually, hopefully, it'll give you like a summary or a description, but there are items that will pop up without them. It just depends on the way that they get filtered into the search from their original database. Sometimes you'll get related items or items that the database thinks might be useful to you, and you can kind of browse through them. And then up here at the top, if we have it physically in any of the libraries at Los Rios, it'll tell you where it's located. So this one's at the ARC library. It's available. It's on the second floor. And then this is the call number. And then there's one copy. There's one available. No one has requested it. So information about that. It'll tell you a little bit of information on if you can check it out and such. You have to be signed in to request it. I'm not currently signed in, but we'll do that really quick. Okay. And so now if I wanted to, I could click on request and request this item. And then this up here is going to be useful to you if you want to save your information, if you want to save the information of the book or the article you're looking at. So if you click on cite, it's going to give you a citation. So if you're doing a bibliography or if you need to cite it, you can click on this and you can get a citation. However, you should always be aware that when you're using a search database like this and you click the cite, chances are there's something wrong with the citation. So you're going to need to always check your citations to make sure they're actually accurate, because sometimes, however the information's been input, some things may get moved around. So you always want to double check them. You can also email the whole information about the book, or if it's an article and you email it, it'll attach a PDF to it. And then you can, put in your address, make a little note saying this is for this project, or this is for whatever reason you're saving it. You can export the information out to an Excel document. It's not super common to do that. I don't know why anyone would realistically do that for like an assignment, but it's there. And then the permalink. So a permalink is a link that's meant to be permanent to the information about the item. So if I were to copy and then paste this, it's going to take me right back to that same kind of listing. Yeah, that'll take me right back here. And so the idea with permalinks is that it's keeping the connection to the item. So even if you have the same link and like you want to look at it a year later, it should still take you back to this page. That. So that's kind of a rundown of what this looks like. You'll also notice in here that there's subjects. So in addition to my metaphor of tags, something that is attached to each item, be it a book or an article, are a subject title. So this book in particular, it's called The Book of Gutsy Women, Favorite Stories of Courage and Resilience. So it's obviously about women. So some of the subjects you'll see are women history, because it probably talks about women who are historically known, or women in history in general. Courage, leadership in women, women political activists, resilience as a personality trait, women social reformers. So you'll probably have a lot of people that were politically active or well known for maybe civil rights, political movements, and such. And so that's a nice way of seeing how those things are, what's connected in the book. Let's go back to the search results. This is making sense so far for everyone? Cool. Be sure to stop me if I'm speaking too fast or if you have any questions. But back to our little search field up here. So athletes, and we're talking about mental health too. So let's type in mental health. So when you have a couple of keywords that are separate from each other, like athletes and mental health as two separate concepts versus mental health as being like a one concept with two words, you can separate them out in this advanced search. So you have one on one and then the other one down here, and then you can switch this to and or not. So when you use and in a search, you're connecting athletes and mental health together. So all of the articles or books that are going to come up are going to be articles and books with athletes and mental health in either the title or in the summary. So you're looking for the things that combine those two things specifically. So if you're looking for something that's super specific, this is a really good way of making sure that your two concepts are connected. So athletes and mental health, or like, what's another one? See, video games and social media. That's another thing that you connect. If you're doing for whatever reason, like a research paper on like Twitch and like Twitch streamers, that would be a thing that you can use. Video games and social media, stuff like that, right? You also have or. So if you're looking for something that has either or of a something, so maybe you're connecting two synonyms. So athletes or sports would be one. You're looking for stuff that has one or the other in the title or in the summary. And then not. So if you need to clarify that you're meaning one thing instead of another. So like, what's an example? I don't know. I don't use that one as often. So like, let's say videos, not films, for instance. If you're looking specifically into like short videos that aren't like films or movies, that would be one you could use. Videos, not films, right? So these are all really good for clarifying concepts in your search. So for this, we're using athletes and mental health because we want to connect these two ideas, right? So we'll go ahead and hit search. And then you can see mental health, athletes. It's all the same stuff in the titles. It's focusing on those two concepts together as one thing. And so now if we want to filter our search, so it's a little more specific, say our professor wants just peer-reviewed items, we're going to look for this little purple icon of a book with an I that says peer-reviewed. And we want to avoid all of this stuff that doesn't have peer-reviewed. We can go on to the left and we can filter our search so it's a little more specific, or so it's filtering in a different way. So for just peer-reviewed, you're going to click scholarly journals. So there's no option that says peer-reviewed, it just says scholarly journals. So you click that and you can either apply it or you can keep applying filters. So let's say our professor says they don't want any sources that are from before 2015, for instance. We could change the publication date information here to 2015 to 2023, and then we click that little checkbox. If you're just changing that, you could also just click apply and it'll automatically refilter your search. we'll leave those two and we'll do apply. And so now we're only getting those peer-reviewed articles. It's removed books because even though books go through, a lengthy review process, they're not considered peer-reviewed in the same way that journals are. So those have been filtered out. So you're just seeing those articles. And then it's not obvious when you look at it for the year, but like when you open up different listings, you'll be able to see, does this one show it? You may not always see the year on these panels, but this is like an example. So this right here, the available from, because these are articles, they're not physical copies from the library, right? They're going to be digital PDFs and such, or websites. So these are the different areas, or the different websites rather, that this one article in particular has availability with. So let's just open it here. And so for this one, it takes us to a website. Abstract is basically just a summary or the description of what the article is. And then we can see down here that there are some keywords, there's some tags. So if you're doing your search and you're having trouble and you find maybe the one article that has all of the things you need and you need to find more, another good way to advance your search is to see what keywords or tags are being attached to your article. And you can see the different, how your search changes as you apply those. So that's one thing I also recommend is always see pattern, look for patterns, see what's coming up, check how your article that you're looking at is being represented. Okay, now, so this one, you see the summary and stuff, but you're like, where's the article? Where's the actual thing I want to read? This is the link right here, the DOI. So sometimes when you see that instead of the full thing, and you'll be able to go in and click that. It's basically the same thing as a permalink, the DOI. So you may see that, and that is going to be the permalink in this instance. So you'll open it up and you get a full article. Any questions so far? No? All right, I'll keep going. So, like I said, here's our article. Scroll all the way to the bottom, and you'll also find your references. Even in PDF versions of articles, you'll find references. And so that is another way to change up your search if you're having trouble, or if you're looking for other references that are in the line of the article you're looking at. You'll be able to see all of the articles that the author of the article you currently have open may have looked at. And so you can check out those titles as well. And either a lot of these, this particular link is nice, or this website is nice because it gives you like the Google Scholar and the full reference information. Not a lot do that. But usually you can see at the end for articles, you have the DOI. And so much like this link, usually you can pop those open too and get to those articles if they're available. Possible if you narrate or read out loud one of the articles you presented, please. Sure. In what way do you mean? Like just do you mind clarifying that question? This topic is I don't think we have time for me to read the full article here, but I will drop the link for you.
I was gonna say, we can definitely send you the link
I
so
can
you
drop
can
the link.
access it on your own time, okay? But thank you so much for being here.
So there's a link for this article in particular, so you can read it later. I'm glad you're enjoying it. So anyways, where was I? Yes, references at the bottom. So yeah, so this is a nice one because you can go ahead and click into the Google Scholar and it opens up to the article that is referenced. And then look at that, we have a new article for our search. And this is a different website. So this one also calls in an abstract. So you'll get like similar view, like the more journals that you'll look at, the more familiar you'll get with these formats, and it'll be easier to do your reference or to do your research. And so this one, like I said, the DOI here is actually linked. So if you click it, it takes you to another article. So you could really get into a rabbit hole of article to article, which can be helpful, but also distracting. All right, where is our... Okay, yeah. Here we are. Still on keyword. Okay. Yeah, we're on track for what I'm talking about. Anyways, so back to our filtered search. Sometimes it feels like we're really reading research essays. Yes, feel that. Okay, so more on our filters over here. Let's remove the scholarly journals. Add the books back in. So some of these books, like I mentioned, are going to be available in person, but we also have ebooks available. So you'll see that with these ones that say available online. Most, if not all of these, are going to be linked to this EBSCO academic ebook collection. And so when you click and open, if you're not already signed in, it'll give you the sign-in prompt. But this is going to be the same view for just about all of them. The nice thing is about EBSCO is that they'll separate the table of contents out for you. So if you're looking for a particular chapter for your research, you can go to that chapter. You can also download sets of pages or the full chapter. Know that your downloads are limited, but you can absolutely download some of these. So if you're trying to reference a specific section, or you want to hold on to the one section for whatever project or paper you're doing, that's a good way to make sure you have those on hand. You can email those pages to yourself. You can print them out. It's a nice thing about EBSCO. And then you also have the permalink available up here. So this will take you directly to this view, whereas in here, the permalink here will take you to this view. So sometimes you may want to just kind of dial into the more specific, the actual like ebook, right? So that's what's good for that. And then if you are looking specifically for a specific type of item that's outside of the whole scholarly journals filter, there are other resource types listed here. So if you wanted a video, or if you're looking specifically for like newspaper articles, or if you're looking specifically for like theses, that's all available. And then if you are unaware, there are films and videos that are available to you. There is an additional database that I'll pull up a bit later, but you can pop it open. And this will take you to another database, and I'll take you to a full movie and stuff. So sometimes if for whatever reason you're looking for like a movie or a video as a resource, that's available too. And then if you are multilingual, you can also search for items that come in different languages too. So there is a variety of sources that come in different languages as well. So if you are completely literate in a different language, that's an option for you too. I don't know if your professors would be okay with other language sources if they can't read them, but it's an option. And then, okay. So the subject tag is one that can be super useful to you if you're having really tricky research. If you're looking at stuff that's you kind of need to broaden out, subjects is a good way to go about it. So like I mentioned, when you're looking at items, you'll see the subjects that they're tagged with. And so like you can see now, like all of these different subjects, they can be like super specific or they can be a lot broad. So you can see like anxieties is one, and then anxiety as an epidemiology as another. So some things are a little bit different, but you can click into them and that will give you its own search. And then you could take that subject and then you could add your term to it. and then you can go about your search like that. So if you need some like pre-made keywords and stuff, subjects are kind of a nice starting point too, or a way to switch things up. Now that we've talked about, kind of the whole research process, the whole one search thing, are there any questions? Anything about like how the search can be changed or any specific type of things?
They're all experts now and they're gonna visit you on the 101, right, Neil?
I hope so. I hope you're experts after this. This is a lot of detail. I'm aware. All right. If we're all experts at this point, then we'll move on to the next portion, which is organizing your research. So this is a thing I think that goes overlooked for a lot of people, is how do I organize all of these articles? I definitely know when I was a student, I would throw things in a Google Doc, write a note and call it a day, right? I just save my links and then just call it a day. It's not a great way to organize your research. So I kind of like to think that organizing the sources that you find and citing your sources kind of goes hand in hand, or it should, realistically. So like I mentioned, you can save permalinks or you can save your citations. Ideally, you would save both, right? We do have a couple of websites that are available to you for help citing sources. So EasyBib is one. So this is a good way to, create citations, check your paper for plagiarism and stuff like that. So for this, you just, kind of drop in the title of your article or the DOI, like I mentioned. Keep an eye out for that DOI thing, and then a little identifier, and you could actually pop it in. Let me see if we have a DOI real quick. And with the DOIs, it's like an ISBN, right? So like the number that's on the back of your textbooks and books and stuff that kind of associate what it is, that's what a DOI is. That's an easy way to explain it. So it's gonna come up with stuff. It's gonna come up with stuff. But you'd also use your links and find it. That's not the point of this. The point of this is always make sure you cite your sources and you save those sources and organize that somewhere. I have, if you ever do an appointment with me, I will also give you the link to this now though. I have this kind of chart that kind of takes you through this process. Let me drop the link in the chat. This is just the viewer version. So you can make a copy of it and add it to your Google Doc. But this is what I like to do and how I like to break down research. And so for all of y'all, since you have you're actively taking classes, I have space for you to put like the name of your class, your professor, if the research guide, if that class has a guide, you can add the link in here. Citation guide if you're citing a specific using a specific citation, so MLA versus APA, because different professors will use different things depending on what type of class you're in. So like psychology versus like English versus like arts, that will change. You can link those there. You put your research question in here, you put your keywords that you come up with, and then add your synonyms for those keywords so you can use those later. This section I like to refer to as the what's coming up in my one search. So like I mentioned, when you're looking at different articles and stuff and you're seeing different things being marked in the abstract as like associated keywords or different subjects that you might see, or even if you're seeing like a specific author that's coming up a lot of times, especially if this particular researcher is like top in their field, they may have like several articles that you might be seeing. That may be something that's coming up in your search, and you can note that here. And those are different ways you can search as well. And then I have this to organize your permalinks, because you should save those. You can change what type of citation you have. You can put in the name of the article or the book and then link it, and then notes. So you can make notes like, oh, this is useful for this particular thing, or this is what stood out to me when I was browsing through this article, and this is why I want to use this article, stuff like that. So that's a template for all of you. You can take that, use that, enjoy that. It'll should hopefully make your life easier. And those are kind of some general ways to organize your research. There's also some like software or like apps that you can use that will like automatically save your citations and like save your PDFs. So if you're doing like a lot of research, that might be something to look into. And there's plenty for free. But in general, I don't think you necessarily would need those. So this is a nice little way to get you started. Make sense? How are we feeling?
They're feeling good.
Good. Is everyone feeling more confident about like doing research, going to the library?
Yeah. Just say yeah.
Good. Yeah, that's what we want. Yeah, so that's kind of the last thing on my presentation is the organizing thing. As I mentioned, where's the library tab? I'm available on Tuesday nights from 4 to 8 for research appointments. So if you do want to follow up about this on any of this process, or you are actively doing research and you want assistance, I'm available to help.
Another thing too that I just want to like,
If you
oh,
wanna-
and Nancy, we recorded it, right?
Yes.
We are recording. So
Yeah.
we will post it on our YouTube channel for all of our Mikasa students, social media, and every platform that we have to have it on Canvas as well. So the students have access to this.
Yes.
Great. Sounds like they know how to do it. I was curious if they knew.
Yeah. And Yulisa, if you don't mind stopping the recording, because for the last 5 minutes, if I may, Nanette, put you a little bit too